Evening, Alison. How are we all doing? It's a bit chilly out there again today. So, is this working? Evening, Nicole. There we go. Everything just froze on my end. It appears to be okay now. So, thank you all for joining me tonight. We're going to do the final finishing touches for the 12 months book. Now, if you remember, sorry, if you kept up, we've done quite a bit so far. So it's just the final little bits to make it into a better, a more finished project, shall I say. So, what I'm going to do, I've got my paper, oops, and all my bits. And as you can see, when I say I keep all the bits, I do mean the little bits, but that's just because they might come in useful for something. So I tend to split them into long thin bits, those are my 3x4 pages, long thin bits. These are the offcuts. What that black bit's doing in there. So I might use those for something later. Well, they're all the same size, so keep those together and then just pop these on top like that. Oh, I can't pick these up. So, okay, I'll put them on the and all my little designer bits. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I know I want this for the front of the book. Just realised I've not unpacked. We were away at the crop on Saturday and Sunday, and then I went over to see my godparents in Lichfield for a couple of hours and then ended over staying over with them, so we didn't get back till late last night. So I want this bit on the front, so I forget my pencil. I want to cut that round about there and about there. You can measure this. I do sometimes measure it, but sometimes as well I just mark it and trim it off. Because all it needs is for one of your folds to be not quite where it should be, and that will then knock it everything out. So that just sits on the front there. So this is actually the reverse of the cover piece. So if you wanted, I forgot that was on there, you could have done it that way, but I quite like those stripes. So Evening, Jennifer. Oh, I bet you're warm in Florida. Evening, Debbie. Yeah, it's definitely autumnal now. Definitely feeling the chill in the air. Okay, so slide that into place. And then when you're happy with it, just rub that down. So you've got your front. And again, I would do the same again, just to put on there and then on the back. I'll do that in a minute. So if you remember, when we cut these fold bits, we did them at 3 1/8 by 1, excuse me, and 1/8. 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. So that means that when you've got your 3 by 4 journaling cards, use a white one, they actually just fit onto there and give you a small reveal, and you don't need to do anything extra really. You don't need to cut anything, you don't need to trim anything. So yeah, I'm all for making life easier. So let's have a look. I think I'm going to go for a happy positive quote. Oh, hang on. So I'm going to pop that on there. And there you go. So you don't need me to teach you how to do that, because I'm sure you're all really good at that. So you just put one on there, one on each of those. I've left the insides free because that's where we're going to put, you can put your 3 by 4 photographs when you've done them. So we'll pop them on there, and then on the front, open this up. So in the ephemera kit, oops, you get lots of tags, little bits of coffee, like an old-fashioned alarm clock, flowers, pumpkin. Just split these up into the different things. Now you'll notice it does say on the packet that there is, I think it's 20 different icons, and then more different, because you've got different sizes of labels and different colours, and excuse me, each one in each size comes with one blank label like that, so you can write whatever you want on there. It also comes with a label with lines on for writing, but I actually measured this the other day, and the distance between the line is about 1.5 millimeters. I just wrote over the top because it is pretty impossible to keep within the lines on those, but you don't have to use them for writing on. Now I used, on the original book, this girl here on the skateboard was actually one of the 3 by 4 journaling cards, but I really liked it, so I just fussy cut around her and used that rather than just putting it on as a 3 by 4 card. that was one of the die cuts, as was that. But what I also did here is you can keep these there. That's got a photo mat in, which we'll do later, and that actually opens up so you can put two 6x4 photos in there. So here, a piece of card I've done, it's a bit big, but I've not stuck this down all the way. So that means I can put a photograph there, and then once that's you've chosen your photograph and stuck it down, you can then stick that over the top of it. Same if you wanted to do it on there. Just makes it a little bit easier when you're putting things in. So again, that would just pop behind there like that, and then so you could do it with a larger photo. Again, I've just stuck these at the very edge so you can stick your 3x4 photos underneath. I think I've got a 6x4. Yeah, so with that one, 6x4, you can pop it underneath there, and that's bigger than I should have thought. And you see, you can pop it behind the cutter parts. And then this one, again, it's the right size, but you can just tuck it underneath there, tuck your photograph underneath, and you've got room to write on the top. Again, here I've just put some of the little labels, one of the cutter parts, and oops, the 6x4 photo mats. Put it in straight, works better. So again, we've just used these so you can lift them up just to slot your photographs behind. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the photo mat for here, and we'll just work through the book and make sure we've got all our photo mats in place. So let me get rid of my glue before it dribbles everywhere. And then we can build this up on the front of the book. So you can put, got a strange one-eyed creature on there. I quite like the bike. I might put the bike there running away. And then we've got lots of little bits to embellish the front, but I'll do that when we finish cutting all the photo mats. And I finish dropping all the labels. So first of all, in here we're doing, hi Lorraine, we're going to do a folded photo mat in here so that we can put more photographs in. So I can just move that up there. So if we take some 12x12 card, excuse me, so we need to cut this at 6 1/8, at 6 inches. Now your A4 card is 8 1/4 inches across. So trim that down to 6 inches. And then that's where the 8-inch mark is. So if I just put that under and trim that down. So that is now 8 by 6 inches. So we get our scoreboard. Pop that down. Score that at 4 inches. Fold it over and burnish that down. So once you've put your panned paper on, it's a bit long, you can do whatever you want on here. I quite like it if you've got a patterned piece at the top. You can use one of your other pieces, a shorter one, with a plain, one of the plainer backgrounds. Cut that down to size, so that could go there like that, and there you go. I'll be honest, I am using the leftovers because the kit, because the book was only 6 inches across. I cut all my sheets of paper down to 6 inches in width. So the first lot made the original book. That's not the original book. The first lot made the original book. And I've decorated it and put all the bits and pieces on. And I was literally left with half the papers and half the everything. So this kit actually gives you enough to make 2 books. So I think I'm going to use that one. So I need to cut this at just under the 6 inches mark. So front of our book, get the glue out again and just pop your glue on. That at the top. And then the stripy bit, just trim a little bit more off. We'll just sit at the bottom there. So put the glue on here. Line it up, straighten it up, and there you go. So for the front of your book, you've got a photo mat that will hold 1, 2, 3, 6x4 photos, and that will just go in there and show like that. Then I'll go through it. So now we need photo mats to go in here. Now because these are a little bit smaller, I'm just going to cut that down. So again, we need these at 5 7/8, which you should. Yeah, so this is 8 1/4. So if I mark it there, spin it round there, so that's now 8 inches long. So if we cut it at the 4 inches, that will give us 2 photo mats, 1 each to just slide into the pockets there. So I'll flip that over, and then again on this one we've got our journaling cards, I really like that one, but it doesn't show up very well. So I'm going to do this one. I'm always a work in progress, because that means you're always moving forward in theory. And this one where it says your tape's run out, which is about right. So we'll just do a quick refill. This repositionable tape I find really useful. Until I am 100% set on which bit's going where, I use the repositionable tape, and then I can pull it off and swap it round when I decide which bit I want where. And yeah, it just makes life really easy for you. And it means that you don't have regret of sticking something in the wrong place. Just let me poke this out here. And again there, just to stop it gunking up. And just roll that round. Feed it in through there, and that's that refilled. So just put that the right way round. So line that up, and then again we just need another 2 photo mats from here. And the good thing about doing these, so if we do it at 5 7/8 by 8 inches, and then trim that down to the 4 inches again, and that gives us 2 photo mats to slide it in our pockets. Again, we've got hello weekend, can't wait for my weekend. Pop this on there. You're my definition of perfection. Depends on that one. Pop these on. This is just because I might move these round after. And then again, we just need another photo mat for in there. So again, we're going to cut it down to 4 inches. Put it straight. And that one's already 5 7/8. So we'll just slide that into that pocket there. Okay, now for the photo mat in the back pocket, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it so that it folds like a book. So for this, move these out of the way that I don't lose them. There's 2 ways of doing this. You can either have 2 pieces and put a hinge on one side to fold across, or get my trimmer, get your scoreboard out, score it at 5 3/4. and then fold that in half. Oh, my board dinted in the middle. And then you need to trim that down. Oops, so just under the set. I've done it the wrong way. We're doing it to the 4-inch mark. So you then have your photo mat that opens that way, and that will just slide in there. So you've got your photo book that way. So now we need to do our 5 photo mats that just go like this on the, it goes inside, oops, and pops in like that, so it just fits inside the pages. So you have 5 of those, and take that one off. So these need to be just a little bit short, so just a little bit shorter than your pages. So I'm going to do it at 6 inches because I do want a little bit sticking out so you can hold on to it and pull across. And then your page is just over 4 1/4. So yeah, these are done at 4 1/8 by 6 inches. So slide that back in there, then I'll get them lost. So I'm going to get, now if you've still got your offcuts of card, you may have some that will be long enough. Yeah, these aren't quite long enough. So again, get our black card. So if we're doing them at 6 inches, and then again at 4 1/8, in theory the other half should be 4 1/8. And without knowing, I've actually cut 4 altogether there, which I didn't intend on doing, but hey. So again, this one, we're still going to cut this at 6 inches by the 4 1/8. So we've now got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so we've got 5 internal photo mats. And I don't know if my video has just gone off. Nope, still there. So these photo mats, get the right book, are going to go, when we made our pockets, our pages, it was 1 sheet of A4 round, so it does have a hole down the middle, which if I use white card, you can see on there that that just goes into the sides of your book, of your pages, like that. Sorry, I've got a dry throat. So we've got 5 of those now, but what we need to do, you don't need to, but what I do is, like on this one, just put a little bit of the patterned paper on the sides, just so you've got something to grab onto to pull out, so you're not putting your fingers directly onto your photographs. So all those offcuts of strips of paper that you've got can be used for the edges of your photo mats. Or you can use any of these and trim them down to size for your photo mats. Oh, Helen, I thought you'd have had your inserts done and it all be finished by now. You were way ahead at one point. So, don't like that one. I think I prefer that one. So what I'm going to do is cut it down to size. So I know that's for 4 inches and 1/8. So I'm going to cut the paper down to 4 inches. Okay, so now I know this is 3 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to do about 1/2 inch. So if I trim that down to 3 inches, and get rid of that. So I'm going to take it down to 2.5, and then I'm going to take it down to 2, and then 2.5, one inch, and then take it down to 1/2 inch, hold it down. So I've now got 6 edges there, which will only do 3 of the mats. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, just as a bit of difference, I'm going to use the yellow. No, I'm not, because I've not got enough. I'm going to use the pink. I'm not. Because that's Love Hearts, but I'm actually going to use the paper that way. I kind of think that's directionally it won't go. So what I'm going to use is one of the blue ones, and this is when you'll find it takes longer. So we're going with the blue one. I'm cutting it down to 4 inches, and again this way we're cutting it down to, just trim that off so it's an even. So again we're going to cut it at 1/4, at 1/2 inch. So I need 4 of these at 1/2 inch. Just line it up and take that out. So what I'm going to do now is get the glue. Has anybody else done any scrapping recently? Be it mini bookmaking or scrapbooking, journaling, anything creative recently? So again, I'm just going to pop the glue on here. Goodness, that landed the right way up. And pop it onto this side. is Queen of Scrap Lay. Oh, I don't think I am, Helen. If I'm doing a scrapbook layout, I can, it goes one of two ways. I can look at the papers or look at the photographs and go, yeah, no, I'm doing that. I'm doing this, and off it goes. It does usually get tweaked along the way. Or, as happened at weekend, I sat with, and part of the problem was I'd forgot my photographs. I knew what they were, but I didn't pick them up. And I sat for 2.5 hours picking some 12 by 12 layouts up, 12 by 12 papers up, looking at them, turning them round, putting them down, getting a different piece of paper and a different piece of paper, and in 2.5 hours I cut one piece of paper. And then decided I didn't like what I was going to do, so I changed my mind and did nothing after that. So yeah, I find sometimes they'll come together really, really quickly, and other times they don't. And when they don't, put it to one side, leave it, come back to it later, and you'll be surprised. It does usually work. Or choose different photos. Now, when you've done these, it's important to remember that because the inserts are going inside your page edges, you want the bits of paper on the same edge as that one. So what I tend to do, so I don't get mixed up with it, which is easily done with me at the minute, if you flip them vertically like that and then put your paper on the same edge, preferably without sticking it to your t-shirt, pop that down, and then your paper is at the same place. So I'll do this one as well. Ugh. I've noticed now it's colder, my glue isn't quite as runny as it was in the summer, but I don't know if that's just me or if anybody else's glue is the same. So again, just turn it over, pop your glue on. Well, it could be my hands aren't, I'm not as strong as I was in the summer. So that's that one. Put that over, line it up. There we go. And just checking I'm putting it on the right edge again. Make sure that's straight. Then, just because we've got different edges, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate them. So if I start from the back, if I open this page up, I'm going to use, because it's 5, we're going to go with alternate. So I've put one of the green ones in there, then one of the blue ones, another green one. Obviously it depends what colour you've done on your edges. So now there we go, when you've done all this, pop your layouts in, and your book is then a bit chunkier. Now obviously once you've put your photos on here, so as well as your 6x4 photographs, what have we got there? Let's do some 4x3s. So you can put, if you've got your 4x3 photographs, you can put them on there. You can put, oops, a 6x4 is a little bit too big for that, but we can do 5x4s. I find this useful if you are not a, how can I put it, not an amazing photographer. I do get pictures, don't get me wrong, but there is usually, on my pictures, there is usually some random person that just walks just into the Photoshop. So if you do this at 5x4, you can just cut them off the end. So you can put a photograph inside there and one there. You can use your little labels or your flowers. You can decorate up on there. You could put a photograph there, and once you've got your photograph, you can stick an embellishment over the top of it like that. If you're not sure about your photograph, just stick it at one edge and leave this free. So with this book you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3x4 photographs, and that's stuck there. Tidy that up in a minute. So you'll have 5 3x4 photographs. You will have 5 6x4 photographs in there. The book at the front and the book at the back will then give you another 3 6x4 photographs. So 3x4s, we've got 5. 6x4s, we've got 5 in the middle, 3 at the front and 3 at the back, which is 11. And then if we do 5x4s, hang on, inside our pockets here, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And then you've also got places like here, so that's 1, 2, 3, could put them there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, another 10 5x4 photographs. And then if you want to put smaller photographs, if you cut them down to size, you can embellish on here. You can put your little monster face on. You can decorate these up. If you then, with your offcuts, so on this one, let me just decorate this one up. I'm going to have flowers at the top, and Where's it gone? Use that one that's the one I'm looking for at the bottom. So that was 5 7/8. So if we cut this at 5 3/4, keep it straight. Then get our glue. Pop that at the top of the page. And then take one of the, that's not wide enough. I think I'm going to use that one. So if I mark this out with pencil again, trim this down, and then flip that over. I've done it on the floral side just because I couldn't see the pencil marks on the black. So I'll pop some glue on, line that up, and there you go, you've got another photo mat. Now something else that I could have done, except I don't know where I've put my other, so instead of putting the striped bit along the bottom, another thing that you can do is, so if you've got, I hope it's firework night, didn't think that was just yet, it won't quite fit. So what you can do is work out how wide that is, just 3 1/4 inches. So half of that, three and a quarter, 1 5/8. It's not actually that critical. So make sure it's the right width, which that isn't. Let's trim this down to 5 3/4. Use that one in between. 5 3/4. So if you want the blue but you haven't got enough to fill up a full page, you can put this down. Oh, it's empty. So if you pop that down just like that, and again, yes, I do have more glue, lots more glue. It's just, I can't be bothered, it's too far away to go and get it. only because it's cold outside and the glue's in the garage at the minute. So now you can either leave it like that with a black line in the middle, or you can get your third piece of paper, of pattern paper, and just line that up and stick that over. So if you're doing your photo mats and you're decorating them, you can do it whereby you have, and your paper's not quite big enough, where you can do it so you have your extra bit at the bottom. You can do it with your extra bit at the top, or you can split your larger page and do it that way, so you've got a bit in the middle. So you do have lots of options for using all your offcuts of paper up. So that one will go in there like that. And because we've got the gusseted pocket, you can actually get 2 of those photo mats in. Like that. I'll leave that one up a bit so you can see you've got your 2 different photo mats. And then it's just a case of prettying things up, popping the bits and pieces. So on this one, let's turn these over. What I'm going to do when I've done a book and you've got your grey board, and this is a tip I learned from Julie Billingham. So if you chop it into little pieces, and cut this down again, so just put your adhesive on the back, and then pop your, if you're doing a bite, try and make sure it's going straight, not going up or downhill. So I think I'm gonna put a flower in the top corner. Now if you wanted, you could put one of your 3x4 cutter parts on the front as well. So I could do that, pop that there, and then put the flower over the top. It all depends what you're using your book for. Open that out again, and like I said before, you can just put some adhesive on the very edge and pop it on like that, so that you can tuck your photograph behind it, and once your photograph's in place, you can stick that down. Again, the same with the circular ones, you can just pop them in a corner. You can use these, some of these teeny tiny ones, you could pop it on like that, so it's just held on, and that's just big enough you could put a date on that. I don't think you'd be able to get much more than a date on, just because it is so small. But you could pop that on. It could be something that you don't want everybody to read, so if you put that under there, and if you line it it up, you can stick your photograph down. You can put on there what you want people to know. But the one behind, if you don't want people to know, they could just look at it and go, oh, that's a nice picture. That's a nice picture, and move on. And then, unless they're really nosy, they're not going to know to lift that up so that you can see what's underneath it. Again, I think I'm going to put the penguin. Is it a penguin? So I'm going to put the penguin on here. Like I say, I'm using the reusable tape mainly because my glue's run out and the other bottles are in the garage. But it's quite handy because if I then decided I wanted a small photograph, I can lift it up, stick the photo down, and then stick that back over the photograph. So you've got lots of little embellishments that you can use if you can pick them up. I didn't like that because I don't think a black heart is I don't know, maybe it's me. And then again, you've got your photos, plenty of room to use all your embellishments up, pop your stickers on, you know, even if you, whatever collection you're using, you may have, depending on the collection, you may have rub-ons. I've got a really old, I can't remember which one it is. I think this was either American Crafts or Cocoa Vanilla collection with happy sunny things that you can do. But I've got, not a lot of that, but I've got the stickers left. And I thought, well, actually, these are all quite happy, nice stickers. So I'm going to use, if I can get it out, the heart, and pop the heart from that. So you can mix and match your collections. Again, on this one, and this says about, oops, can't get the stickers off. You could put, if you've got pictures of when you're out and about and it's raining, lift that up, and just that sticker says walking in the rain. And as long as you stick it on straight, but that kind of fades into the background. So when you've got a sticker and it's not really defined because it's a very similar colour, just get a pen that works, and then you can just outline the sticker. It's just got, if you just go around the outside of your sticker, and I just push up to the edge of the sticker because it gives you something to go up against. And then once you've done that, that shows up a little more. Or you can then just freehand the corners. And, oops, things like that. So put walking in the rain on that one. And I've got one here that says flowers and trees. So I'm going to put that one at the top here. And again, that's more noticeable. But again, it's not very prominent. So again, just draw around it. You don't have to use black. You can use, depends on the colour palette of the collection that you're using. You can use brown, blue. If it's all different shades of blue, you can use red. Just for that to make that pop. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go back to this one, and I'm going to swap this over. This is why I have the removable. I'm not push that down hard, so I can move that over. And then what I'm going to do on this page is there is a butterfly. So again, if I'm using a photo mat, that's not quite the right size. It's a bit big. Put that down to 4. So if I'm using that as a photo mat, I can then pop my photo mat on and put the butterfly, ooh, stuck to my finger, over the edge like that, so you know that there is a butterfly. And if you're not keen on that, again, you can get your pen and go around the butterfly edge just to give it some definition. And then when you've popped your photograph on there, like that, if you've not stuck these down really heavily, you can pop your photograph underneath like that. So there's lots of different ways to use up all these little bits of ephemera, all the little bits and pieces. Even, like I say, this is really, I think it was I want to say an American Crafts one. In fact, there's a branding strip. Yeah, oh no, it was a Simple Stories Full Bloom collection, which was from quite a while ago, and I've just kept random bits and pieces. But again, flowers, floral, happy, it all works together. So I'm just looking on here, what other stickers can I use? On this one, I'm going to peel these stickers off and just pop them up there. Once you've popped your photo mat in, you may not see all of it, but you will just see the little bits around the edge. On the back here, we can use, got some more words. In the garden. Oops. So you can pop that, and now that one's actually quite a good contrast because it's quite dark in the background. So I'm not going to go around that. You can do if you want. It just does, it depends on what you want. And I think I found one here that says, I've lost it, Springtime Garden Love. And there's lots of floral bits in this. So again, I'm just going to put this down here. I'm going to put it up there. It doesn't show as much there. So again, with my black pen, just go around the edges. And that stands out just that little bit more. A couple of flowers on there. Like that. And again, you can just layer that up. And again, you can put the little monster on there if you like. I'm trying to think what else. So I've got some stickers left on here, so you can use up. Let's have a look. What's that? A watering can with a snail. So you can put your watering can on here. What I sometimes do, if I'm using a sticker sheet, where did that come from? Yeah, once you've cut it out, if you want to stick it down but you want a photograph to go underneath it, what you can do is put it back on the sticker sheet and you've not got your photograph yet, so pop it on back onto the sticker sheet like that, and then stick it in place so that when you then get your photograph, you can slide that behind, stick your photo down, and once it's in place you can just peel the backing off and that sticker will set, but you know where you're going to use it. So there's lots of things like that you can do with collections like this, and like I say, you will have plenty more ephemera pieces in your kit. You'll have die cuts. Certainly with this kit, I've done 2 books with this kit. I've got something else to go on there, so I'm just gonna pop this back on. Make sure that's straight. I'm just going to go through. Actually, I think I'm going to put my monster on there. So your monster sits on the top there. There's no more creatures. So yeah, you can do all sorts, and it is worth, like I say, if you've got old kits with just little bits and pieces on, there's nothing to stop you using these, like full bloom, birds and bees, planting, tending, harvesting. Now, because that's a long one, let me use this. What you can do is cut it into 3. So you just hold your sticker and cut that down. And because you're cutting slightly closer to the letter, I'm just going to trim that end off so it matches. Pop that there, and then again trim this one down. So just because a sticker is in a phrase like that doesn't mean that's how you've got to use it. You can split it up and do it that way. Again, just because it's a bit of a busy background, I'm going to go around the words. And as you can tell, I can't concentrate on doing lines around things and talking at the same time. But you will be pleased to know I've not got my tongue out while I'm doing this, which is a trait that I know both my boys do. So there you go. That's the book finished. I probably will carry on with little stickers and popping things on. like that one, springtime memories, probably go on there. And again, you know, there is so much scope for what you want to do, what you can do, and it does hold. I've used a piece of card. How many? At a minimum, it does hold a minimum of 31 photographs of varying sizes. So there's quite a lot, and you can probably get more than that in it in one, you know, if you wanted to. You can double up your photos in here, you can put extra photos. It is entirely up to you, but it isn't, I won't say it's a quick and easy book. Yeah, I will, because it is. But it's quite effective, and there's lots of things you can do with it. There is a lot of scope for, you can leave you can leave it very simple and just put your photos on there if you like. You can put them on there. It's entirely up to you. So yeah, that's that book. Now, oops, just dropping things. Just a couple of things that I wanted to let everyone know is I won't be doing a live next week because I'm going on my holidays, and there is a possibility I could pre-record it and put it live, but we're not sure if that's going to work or not. So don't be surprised if I'm not here next week, next Wednesday. So I'll be off for 2 weeks unless the pre-records work. Not sure if they will or not, so I'm not going to make any promises. But the week commences, I can't get my dates. So I am back. So when am I back? 26. So Wednesday the 29th of October is when I will be starting this big chunky monster of a Christmas book. I will put a resource list up in the group. I've used 2 12x12 packs of the Arden Creative Studios, and I've used their die cuts, their gems, done a 3D printed title, and also their laser cuts, which are great because the laser cuts you don't have to worry about fussy cutting, they just pop out. And I've also used their PET tape, P-E-T tape. And these are some of the laser cuts, because I can't remember who it was at weekend said, I can't believe you fussy cut that out. It was that one. Yeah, I didn't. I used the laser cuts because it's just too much to fussy cut something like that out. But as I'm not going to be here for 2 live Wednesdays, and I can't guarantee the pre-recorded live will work. So as a treat, anyone who orders the kit for this, before Friday evening, I will be doing a 10% discount in the shop. So anything in the shop before that's purchased before Friday evening, if you use the code holiday10, you will get a 10% discount on anything that you order. If it's ordered before midnight Friday, I will get them in the post to you before I go away. If it's not ordered by midnight Friday, I can't guarantee that it will be in the post before I go away. I will do my best. We actually fly late Monday night, so yeah, so I won't be able to send it out if I'm not here. I'll put the code in the group, and like I say, I will try with the pre-recorded lives, but I don't know how it's going to work, and it does depend on the internet connection where I am. So there you go. I'll pop the code in the group, and have a lovely weekend, everyone. If you've done any scrapping, if you've done any cards, any books or anything, it'd be great to see all your photographs in the group. Pop it on and give each other some advice, some inspiration is the word I'm looking for. So I will see you all soon, and take care, and I'll speak to you all later.